Okay.
Now, read replicas are available for these databases. My bad, I said only Aurora, but it also is available for MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, and Aurora. So it gives, you need to remember one thing, there is something called multi-AZ. Here, the read replicas are asynchronous replication, and the read replicas are available only for read only. You cannot make any updates to this database. If you want to make any update to the database, you need to make it here to the primary database.
So by asynchronous, you mean that it will be replicated over the time, like 6 months, four
No, it
months,
is over
like.
few minutes. Like for example,
Oh, okay.
you you make an update to either is here or Abdul new, you join in a new student here, that data immediately is not available here. It takes few minutes to update it here. For example, two people are booking tickets.
Mhm.
Okay. Now this database he already committed. This database he already booked it into the system actually. Same time, I'm also committing it actually. Now there is a delay between this and this one, right? So I see this ticket is still open here, but it's already been booked here actually. That is the reason many times what you see is after you have in the shopping cart, right? But when you click on submit, somebody else had bought it actually, and you don't get that ticket or it got sold out,
Mhm.
right? Because you did not come, somebody else committed before you. So, but when you were searching, that ticket was available, and by the time you booked it, somebody else booked it, and that was the last ticket. So you don't have it anymore. So you find that in very commonplace scenarios actually. Okay.
So Salim bhai, let's say if the original primary copy has some issues,
Mhm.
and it's replicated again with the issued thing. So I corrected that, and immediately my correction led to the primary being lost. So will
I,
that
I did
rep-
not get your question.
so basically the replicated is corrupted one.
Replicated cannot be corrupted. It is a replica of the main primary database.
Okay, no, the
Now
original
here,
primary was corrupted, and then the replica is now corrupted as well.
okay. Now, the whole concept of databases, if this is corrupted, actually, it's no longer accessible. First of all,
Okay.
okay. If this is now this is a automatic replication. If there is a wrong data, incorrect data that is fed into this database, then there is the same data gets replicated here as well. So if you corrupt the data here, corrupt the data, not the database, then the data corruption also come, occurs here. Now, the mitigation for that is you identify after 1 hour or even 30 minutes immediately that your database is corrupted or your data is corrupted. You have backup copies. You create backup of this database. Then you recover your database to something called point in time recovery. Point in time recovery, wherein you say that now it is 10 o'clock, right? Okay, my data got corrupted in 9:30, so it's better for me to back up my database up till 9 a.m. So what I do is I remove this database, I take the backup snapshot of the database that I had taken at 9 a.m. and create a new database and put make that as a primary. That is a kind of a mitigation plan actually. So every database is backed up. So that is another thing that I have here actually. Where it can be promoted. Um, Let me show. There is a point somewhere here. So migration on demand. Where is the backup? So, so Amazon manages the backups recovery. So you can you can create a backup. You have an automated backup. See here, you can have automated backups or manually create your own backup snapshot. This is the reason if your database gets corrupted, you know what time your database got corrupted, and you can define before this database got corrupted. I can take the snapshot of that database, that copy of the snapshot, and I can recreate the database. So there are ways. These are called as a recovery phase. One is called as a backup phase. One is called as a recovery phase. You back up a database and then you recover it back to its original way, how it was functioning.
So Salim bhai, if the uh, let's say my primary got corrupted, then
Mhm.
you said it's asynchronous, right?
So the
And
asynchronous is for the replication of it.
right, right.
Here you will be
I
taking
mean,
backups are something different.
right,
Replication
right,
is something different.
right, right,
Replication is another database running in parallel. Here, snapshots you cannot access. You take a backup, just like you are standing in front. I'm taking a photo of you. It's a snapshot of your photo, that moment,
right,
right?
right. I mean to say that before it's getting backed up or replicated, it got corrupted, and I don't have another primary copy. So what should I do?
So if you don't have a primary copy, then you lose your database. If you have not
Uh,
backed up, if you have not backed up a database, then it's
mhm,
gone. So that
interesting.
is the
Okay.
reason why your backup is very important. Like even on your laptop, a virus attack happens,
Hmm.
right? So all your files are gone. So that is the reason I recommend every person to at least back up their systems once in a month at least. So you take a hard drive, external hard drive, or onto the cloud, back up all your files. So somebody attacks your laptop, you don't have to lose your files. So what you do is you format your, you still have your data and everything on your hard drive, which is your external connect. It's not connected to your system.
Right, right. Okay. Because as you said, it's gonna take some minutes to
Yeah, it may
replicate
take up
it.
to 3 minutes. Is actually I think the time for it to
Before
do.
that, I have uploaded my primary. It was good, and then suddenly something got in and it got corrupted before the replication even happened.
Mhm.
So
You
okay.
will not be able to find out how fast the replication happens. It may take a minute, it may take 30 seconds, it may take up to 3 minutes, depending upon a lot of other criterias. You cannot really understand this one. But when you know that your database has been corrupted or some bad actor has fed in some unrequired data, so you
Right.
can recover that from a previous version that has been backed up.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Now there is another concept called multi-AZ deployment. There is always two questions in the exam, one for this one and one for this one. People always get confused and they lose marks here. Now, multi-AZ provides enhanced availability durability for RDS. When you provision a multi-AZ database, creates a primary database and synchronously replicate the data to standby database. Now here, what happens here is, in a read replica, there is a asynchronous replication. Okay. Now, in a kind of a multi-AZ deployment, the replication is synchronous. As soon as I update here, within a fraction of a second, the same data gets updated here as well. So that is the only major difference between a read replica and a multi-AZ deployment. So what happens when this database gets failed? Now immediately the primary gets failed. Immediately you can shift to the read replica, the multi-AZ, the second database which is replicating. Here in this scenario, you have to convert it into the primary. The read replica you need to convert into, like for example, uh, the Amazon creates a second database using snapshot of source. In case of engine, it is. Where was it actually? Okay, here it is. The second point. This read replica can be promoted as primary. Okay, it can be promoted as primary and made available. Here also you can create a primary. You can whenever there is a failure that happens, this the standby database can directly act as a primary database. You don't have to promote it back again. So that is a major difference between a read replica and a multi-AZ deployment.
So Salim bhai, uh, I'm not clear on this. Can you repeat it? What's the basic difference? So it seems that both are the same.
Uh, it looks like it is the same. That is the reason they ask you confusing question in the exam. Now, let me draw you that. So you have this database, right?
Mhm.
And consider you are a user. You are accessing this database. Okay. Now, in case of read replica, this is a read replica, exact replica of this database. Now, there is a synchronization between these two databases, asynchronous, async. Now, this database also is exactly the same as this one.
Right.
Now, you are Abdul. Now, there is another guy called Idris. I am close to some other location.
Mhm.
So, I can make this database available to this guy for read only. He can access
Okay.
this one. This
Okay.
contains exactly the same data as this one. But you are accessing a different data. I am accessing a different database,
I
data
see.
actually. Okay. It's
I see.
exactly the same, synchronous actually. Now
Okay.
there is um,
So your read replica is basically in a different region, can
different
be
availability zone,
primary for another person.
different availability. There's another one. So now this is also a replica of this one, not this one. Okay, this is also async. Now Murad is here. He can access this. But when I want to update, actually, I cannot update this one. It
So it's
automatically,
read
when I
only.
try to update it, actually, it connects
Mhm.
me to this one. It is a behind the scenes how it does. It's kind of a detailed study, but
Mhm.
I can only make this available as read only
See.
if I just want to read it. But if I want to update, I need to still connect to this database to read. It all happens behind the scene. It switches and how it happens actually. Okay, but for the
Okay.
reading purpose,
Mhm.
these are available. Fast reading, because there are multiple available. These are given to you free of cost. Remember that,
I see.
for your faster access.
So does the user have to specify or basically activate this multi-deployment service,
No,
or
these
is
are
it by default it's
by
gonna be
default. These are by default given to you.
okay?
These are by default given to you.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, take the same chart. Okay, I take the same chart. I have the same chart.
Mhm.
I have the same user, Abdullah. Now here, this is a synchronous replication here in multi-AZ in a different availability zone, not in a different region. All these are happening in one region. Remember that.
Mhm, mhm.
Read replicas in one specific region. Multi-AZ is one specific region. It cannot span across different regions.
Yeah.
It cannot. Okay, if you want to span it across different region, the concept becomes different. So currently AWS does not give you spanning across different regions. It is US West 1.
So basically, it's in North America or something. So that's an availability region, and
Yes,
then you have different zones like Texas, Houston,
yes,
New York, stuff like that. So those are
yes.
zones. So I can't access from India, basically,
No, no.
Asia.
I mean to say, you still can access this one from India, but the spanning, the speed. For example, if you are accessing from now, this if you are in US East one,
Hmm.
for example, West one availability is West one, that is in what do you call California.
California.
California, right? So California will have four availability zone, maybe one in Salt Lake City, one in Las Vegas, one in some other place, right? So four different availability zones. So person accessing from Las Vegas can access to this one first. Salt Lake City,
Right.
this can access. But if he is accessing from India, he can access any of the four. For him, it is equal distance whether he access this one doesn't matter actually because he's completely in a different region altogether.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So basically,
Now,
it's region zone specific thing. But if it's from out of region, then it's gonna be same for all the servers. Like it's gonna be same. Okay.
now, if we go to multi-AZ, what happens is Abdullah has access only to this server. Read replica is again a different concept altogether. Here, there can for this server there can be read replicas. Hold on a minute. Let me draw you a better diagram that gives you understanding. This is a good diagram. Now this is a read replica. Consider this as a read replica. Okay. Abdullah is accessing this database. He can access this, the read replica of it, or the primary of it.
Right.
Okay. He cannot access this one. This is a synchronous standalone database. This is an exact copy of point in time. Every minute an update happens here.
So is this the
Immediate.
backup copy or something?
This is a backup copy. Immediate continuous backup copy.
Okay. This is called multi-AZ deployment.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just the difference is basically you have a backup and you don't have a backup.
Yeah. Here it is. See, if you lose this here,
Then
then
you
it is
have
not
a
a
backup.
problem. You still have this one. Okay.
Hmm.
If you lose this,
You have
you
backup.
can build from this one,
Right.
read replica.
Hmm.
Here you lose this, you can
You
still
lo-
build from this one
if you
as
lose
well.
both the
You can
replica
use,
and the primary,
you can
then
both the the difference here is hold on a minute. The difference here is you can build from you need to see this endpoint is different.
mhm,
Okay, this endpoint is different. You can build from here to here. The endpoint changes. Here you can just disconnect from here and you can just connect here directly.
yeah,
Here the connection is still there. Same thing you are promoting, making this as the primary. The endpoint changes. Like for people who are accessing other read replicas,
mhm,
now they were pointing here. Okay. Now they will again all have to point here because now this is the primary. In this scenario, okay, when you make this as a primary, the read replicas endpoints does not change. They continue the same way. It all happens behind the scene that this points to this one. Instead of this one, it just points to this one.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing. You need to drill down. There are a lot of things in my mind. I'm trying to tell you, but this is the best way I can tell.
Yeah. So I have a question. So you said that the backup is updated synchronously. So
Yes.
let's say if my primary gets corrupted,
Hmm.
and my backup is going to be corrupted like all the time whenever the primary is getting corrupted. So,
Yes.
and at the similar time, if I have my replica corrupted along with my primary, then
Hmm.
I don't have my copy, right?
Now, see here, these are instances. These are not backups.
Right, right.
Backup, what I do is I create a snapshot. I compress this small. For example, if this database is 1 TB, I
Okay.
take a snapshot, I compress it and make it as a file.
That's basically using another service kind of thing.
Yeah, I take it as a make this database, compress this, zip this, make this as a file of about 100 MB. From 1 TB, it becomes 100 MB,
Mhm.
and put it as a backup. This is called as a backup
See,
snapshot backup.
so this is more of an instance backup, and
Yes.
then this is
So
stored.
now my this got corrupted, this got corrupted, this got corrupted, everything got corrupted for that instance.
Mhm.
That is the reason. This happens when you are working on your own instances. Any which way, let's consider for a remote case, all these got
Yeah.
corrupted. So what you do is now this got corrupted at 11 a.m.
Mhm.
11 a.m. all my database got corrupted.
Mhm.
But I know for sure at 10 a.m. my database was good.
Mm.
Okay. Now I think I have a doubt. 10 a.m. also my database was not good. Now I have another backup. So there are 14 days backups available. You can configure for hourly basis or daily basis or everything.
Right,
So
right.
every hour there will be a backup taken actually. Backup
I see.
snapshot. This is a low cost, right?
I see.
Database itself to maintain it is 1 TB. Here it is just 100 GB.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can have 10 databases. 100.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
10.
good.
Sorry. So I think 9 a.m. was a much better one. So what I do is I take the snapshot of 9 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
rebuild my database using that snapshot where I'm 100% sure of that database is corrupted. If I'm not sure, I take first 10 a.m.'s backup and restore it to become a database. See, the database is still corrupted. Then I delete that. I take the 9 a.m. one and recreate the database and see, oh yeah, now this is correct. So I make that as a primary and make it available.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is a thin line difference, but it is a very prominent one, and they will definitely ask you in the examination. They'll give you a scenario, and 100% they will ask you, should I use read replica here or multi-AZ here? What comes into play? So the key points here to remember is asynchronous replication is for read replicas, and synchronous replication is for multi-AZ. Synchronously replicate. These remember these points. And you can have up to 5 read replicas to each database instances. Okay. And multi-AZ, I think you can have to do multi-AZ this one. So it happens behind the scene actually. So when you provision a multi-AZ deployment, creates a primary database and synchronously replicates the data to a standard standby database in a different availability zone. This is for high availability and failover. This is for both help in failover. high availability, but specifically Amazon sells this product as a read replica is for high availability and enhanced performance. This is for high availability and failover. Whenever there comes a question of failover, then you need to use multi-AZ deployment. And if the fail happens, it automatically, again, one more concept here is, so in a read replica, if the fail happens, actually, you need to promote yourself. You need to promote this as a primary. But in multi-AZ, if the failure happens here, it automatically fails over to a different database. The connection is not this one. It still is available. So instead of this person pointing here, immediately he'll start accessing this second database. But here in this scenario, if this database fails, you need to promote this read replica to become the primary. So this is not a failure concept. The failover happens is a multi-AZ kind of a. Only here you can do a failover, not here. Confusing?
So Salim bhai, I think it's fine. I have a question regarding the roles actually. So let's say if my primary got corrupted, and
Mm-hmm.
then I am a role of just a user,
Mm-hmm.
not the administrator.
Mm-hmm.
So how the roles is gonna be like? Can I do it, or it's just role specific, or basically anyone can do it?
So, like if you have a read replica, if you don't have a multi-AZ, that's what you mean to say.
Hmm. Yep.
So only an administrator can promote a read replica to any configuration changes. Only an administrator can do. A database administrator who has permissions to as a database admin guy. So how do you do?
Let's say let's say if I'm working from Vegas and then I have my closest replica to the zone, and then I want to change it, like any update anything in the database. So do I need to have an administrator role as well with that
Yes.
changes to the
So any
database?
configuration you need to have admin role. For example, if you go to IAM, others, no questions from you guys. Is it helping this or not? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I do have a question in mind, but I don't know. Like it's more like I'm just curious. How often does a failover occurs, and what are the most common reasons for it?
So that is a selling point from Amazon actually. So I think only I've not come across any database failures as of now. So that's the reason Amazon sells it as a product of 99.999% available actually. That's how it sells. So I've not come across any failure anytime. Policies, sorry, not rules. So these are the available. So if you give full access, this gives permissions to do whatsoever you want. So it gives access to do all the RDS activities. So RDS activities, all this you can do. So you can go here, click on. So you should play around, create a small database, and you can just delete it off. You will be able to understand much in detail. Now there is another concept. We are timing out in 10 minutes and we will connect back again for our last session for the day. Or probably I think we'll try to end it today. So you can create a database. Now there is another kind of a concept here actually. Now you consider you are on premise. See, these are the available database services. You can use Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, or MySQL Server. So you can create a standard create or a easy create. So there are different options that it gives you, what kind of version. So if I choose Oracle, right, I get these are the different Oracle versions actually. Now what happens here is there are two things. One is when I buy a Oracle database server, it contains Oracle license also. Oracle license is the most expensive license for the database. Now Amazon will start charging me for that license. Now consider I already have a license for 2020 and 2021. So I don't have to buy the license from Amazon in that case. I say that I already have a license, but I'm migrating my server from my on-premise to database. I want to reuse the license. So you showcase that you already have a license. See here, there is option bring your own license. You bring in your own license and you build your server actually. So you can do that. This is an important point. So you can bring your own license or you can buy the license from Amazon. Usually it recommends for one of the version it gives you, you can buy the license from. Okay, earlier there was, see there, license included. Okay, so you can buy the license from Amazon or you can bring your license. So first three options gives you the option of bringing your own license. So this is an important exam point as well. Okay, so you can create all these configuration you can give and you can create a database. Now database, they need a lot of memory. So it uses M5, M type of servers. So it has about 4 CPUs and 16 GB RAM is a basic one. So you can go for a smaller one as well. So these are the standard classes or memory optimized. Usually memory optimized is what they recommend. Ours are the memory optimized ones. So you may want to go with that. So here you can choose what kind of your general purpose proposed provision IOPS or magnetic. So you can choose that. Okay, I don't see GP3 here, but any which way. So what is the amount of allocated storage? How many provision IOPS? So the moment I increase to provision IOPS, I get an option up to I can increase up to 30,000 actually. So I can choose up to 40,000. Sorry, 40,000 IOPS here, up to 40,000 IOPS. But when I choose general purpose, I don't have that option of 40,000 actually. So I can get up to only 10,000, 20,000 IOPS maximum. Okay.
Is there anything related to the price?
Abdullah, your voice is not clear.
Sorry, is there anything price related? Cost?
Yeah. So
Cost
whatever
variable?
configuration you choose, the cost will difference. So general purpose is less expensive because it provides less IOPS. If I choose the provisioned IOPS, it is more expensive. If I use magnetic, it is less cost. It is not SSD, it is less cost actually. So, but there is a delay, latency, how the data is being fetched.
Oh,
So the cost reduces. So unless you are sure for using provisioned IOPS, don't use it. It is very expensive and you will get a lot of bills.
What is IOPS?
Input output operations per seconds. I think we discussed about that. Like here you come here, the database, you have the storage, right? So the database, whenever you make an update, the database server writes it to the storage. So this got updated. So the number of input operations that happen. So if it is beyond 20,000 of these input outputs per second. Okay, then there will be a congestion here. There will be a congestion, and it will stop responding. This database this storage will stop responding, or become it may crash, or it will I mean to say slow. It will respond very slowly. So for that, if there are more amount of transaction, especially online ticketing of air flights, banking, all those things, they have higher provision IOPS, which are for more than 40,000 IOPS per second. Right now, don't consider just when I say IOPS, just one update can have at least thousands of IOPS actually, because there will be thousands of bits and bytes that are getting pushed in here. All those are kind of interrupts actually, input outputs per second. Okay. So go ahead and practice that today on the create a small database, play around a little bit, and let me know if you find any difficulties and other thing. So that's it for today. Let me see where we are on the presentation. Was the next slide. Okay, let me cover this actually, and then Boston House. Okay, let me cover this. So I have just created a small chart of the different this one. So you have the multi-AZ deployment and the read replicas. These are the two things. So multi-region for now, actually, until your exam point of view, just forget this part, but this is a very important. You cannot use multi-AZ for multi-region. Multi-region is something different. So this is mainly high availability and failure. This is for scalability, like it is more accessible. So you need to remember that when it comes to high availability and failover, so it is multi-AZ, and for scalability is read replica. It is a synchronous application. This is a asynchronous application. Here only the primary instance is active. All instances are inactive. This is exactly what I showed here. So let's read replica here. So this is not at all accessible. This person is able to access only this and this actually. In read replica, these are all active. This is in multi-AZ, this is a standalone. It is not accessible at all. So that's what it means actually. So it is not accessible. All read replicas are accessible and can be used for read scaling. Automated backups. So multi-AZ, there is automated backups. Here, no backups. So it spans at least two availability zone. It can span across the availability zone. Availability zone. Read replicas can be cross region. So I need to cross region. Okay, I have this point. I need to see how we can do that for cross region. So let me present to you on that on the next slide actually. For non-Aurora databases, database engine upgrades happen primarily. Aurora all instances are updated together. So